All right. Hello, everybody. We're going to dive straight into the heart of today's session because if you're here, I'm sure you're eager to strengthen your MSP and see some solid gains. Our goal really is to give you some new thinking on this subject. And it's really important because until you can grow predictably, you're stuck in some really weak positions, both personally and professionally. um, you know, we've all been in that situation where you lose a client and it's not just a hit to your revenue, it's also a blow to your confidence because the path to replacing that client and revenue isn't clear. Or maybe you're dealing with clients who just suck the energy out of you. You don't value your services, delay payments. You can often feel stuck with those types of folks. You can feel trapped, wanting to pay your team better, hire more staff, but only when that next big agreement confirms it's safe to do so. And those prospects that you do meet, sometimes you can really struggle with helping them see how you're set apart from the competition. So if any of that sounds familiar, it's likely that you're dealing with what I like to call an MSP marketing muffin top, a bit flabby around the edges where you need to be really lean and impactful. So I'm Connor Smith. I own an MSP, been doing this over 20 years, and I've seen what it's like to go from a marketing muffin top to sporting that marketing six pack. And joining me today is probably the only person on this call with a six pack, Cassia Spurlock. She's our digital marketing director and serves as a fractional CMO for our MSP digital marketing clients. Cassia?
Thanks for the intro, Connor. Yeah, so running an MSP is no easy feat. It's a challenge no one person can solve. And what we hate to see is MSP owners trying to lift more weight than they are capable of, whether it's marketing, sales, delivery, finances. Trying to lift all that weight without any spotter or previous training can be a struggle. And all you're really going to get in the end is a backache and poor results. We want to see the hard work we put in turn into good cash flow, good clients, good employees, and rewarding growth. If you're going to be putting in all the effort at work or in the gym, we should all be seeing gains, right? Feeling stronger and even enjoying a little bit of success dopamine and that nice hit to see that progress. Otherwise, what's the point, right?
Absolutely. This business can be a slog and can be draining, but it can also be fun, and dopamine never hurt anybody. We're going to share openly and honestly about building a robust lead generation system for your MSP. This session's really geared for MSPs with annual revenues between 2 million, 5 million that are trying to grow predictably. You likely have, a lean team structure in these kind of revenue spaces. CEO definitely, possibly a marketing assistant, or you're using a marketing agency, or you're outsourcing certain tasks like cold calling or things like that. And then perhaps you have experimented with having a business development executive on staff. But whatever seat you're in at your MSP, it's super critical that you get this concept before we dive deeper. And marketing people, and Cassie and I know this so well because we have these meetings, and we ourselves have gotten other people to glaze over, with our marketing babble. But you really have to keep it this simple. Um, you know, to grow IT MRR, MSPs have to reach business people that know them and business people that don't. It's that simple of a problem. You can do that through prospecting, which is really just reaching out to one person at a time privately, or you can reach them via marketing, which is reaching many people publicly. You just got to get those concepts and keep it that simple. Done well, it creates know, like, trust, and a return on the investment. Done poorly, it's a waste of time, money, energy, and focus that leaves so many MSP owners frustrated.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And, a lot of MSP business owners are probably already investing in a lot of different marketing activities, and their tool set for the can include their website, social media, SEO, newsletters, and maybe attending local chamber events, industry events. Um, They could also be doing some outreach as well, such as email campaigns, direct messages, mailers, third party cold calling, drop visits. The list just is endless. But if you're spending money and doing a lot of these things, but really struggling to get outcomes, what you really need to see your business grow and thrive, you're in the right place. And so Connor and I have decided to tackle head on some of the few fundamental questions about roles and responsibilities in your marketing efforts that you may be getting hung up on, that may be impacting your ability to make those real marketing gains that lead to confidence and strength. And some of these questions that we aim to answer today are: what exactly should the CEO be focused on? What are some of the key responsibilities of your business development people? And what should your marketing team really be tasked with to drive success? So, why don't we go ahead and get started on that first one? Connor, as CEO, who both is in the seat and is working as a CEO for an MSP, but also managing a digital marketing agency, can you start by addressing what the CEO's role should be in building and maintaining a strong lead generation system?
Yeah, and I don't want to pat myself on the back here, but to you, my fellow CEOs, it really is the most crucial role, and we'll get into detail more. But the CEO's role is definitely entrepreneur and visionary. And I have gone through enough of these meetings where I will just not allow our marketing agency to work with any MSP CEO who won't slow down and really address some fundamental questions to give everyone else a clear and high impact vision of what they want in terms of their IT MRR growth. We actually did one of these yesterday, Cassie and I, for an MSP in Texas, and at the end, and it went on about an hour and a half, trying to answer about six fundamental questions. They said, we have talked to several agencies, and you are the only one who really forced us to slow down and get that vision clear. And I know a lot of CEOs. I'm in, MSP peer groups, have customers, et cetera. And, you know, the more entrepreneurial they are, the more they have this whirlwind of ideas swirling in their heads. And while they oftentimes think they've communicated their vision super clearly, more often than not, that is just not the case. So what tends to happen is this: CEOs, their marketing teams, their business development personnel are all trying to complete this puzzle, but they're receiving the pieces in patches and at different times. And some of those puzzles are just like these CEOs' wild ass dreams, and some of them are super practical. So to forge a strong IT MRR growth strategy, it's crucial for the CEO to present a super clear, super complete, and compelling vision. Another challenge with CEOs is that while they're thinking, again, this kind of goes to CEO ego. They think all their thinking has immense value. Many times it can be incredibly limiting. And every MSP I know, including myself, has been confined by their thinking at one point or another. This is why peer groups are so valuable, and industry consultants. They broke me out of limited thinking. They helped me to broaden my perspective and shed false or limiting beliefs. And we're really only as limited as our thinking. So again, hopefully we're giving you some new ideas as we go through this. So CEOs, remember, your vision must be complete, and it's complete when it's been shaped by people that you respect, trust, and have experience achieving what you're trying to do. Your vision isn't complete unless it's written down, clearly communicated, and the people involved clearly get it, want it, and are empowered to do it. Uh, don't spend time, effort, money on marketing, business development people unless you can check that box.
Yeah, great points, Connor. Um, Marketing and prospecting and business development are not only mature professions within our industry, but also beyond it. And the sooner CEOs can translate their visions from ideas in their heads into simple, actionable frameworks that they can discuss and refine with their trusted advisors, the quicker that vision can evolve into concrete planning and execution. So you've already done a lot of the like groundwork for this. You've been there as a CEO working to define a vision, share and execute on it. Could you share some of the key questions that you've discovered along the way that could help other MSPs CEOs shape their vision?
Yeah. Um, it's just kind of thinking about this. Um, when I say ITMRR growth to a CEO, you get a lot of different answers, but sometimes you get some concrete numbers. I want to add X new clients a year, or I aim to increase my net new recurring revenue by X thousands of dollars, and that's a great starting point. Those are needed ingredients of the vision, but you got to go much deeper. And as I'm working with people to get clear on this stuff, I'm asking questions like, well, you know, if you achieve that goal, but it's with the wrong clients or the wrong types of solution or the wrong price, would you be successful? What if you got clients in an undesirable location? And we've all been there as MSPs where it's like, I took on a client, but they're really kind of outside my delivery zone. Um, so you don't want to generate a bunch of those. What if your financial goals are met, but it's not a win for the team? Is that going to give you predictable, consistent future growth? What about misalignments that can arise? And this happens all the time between sales, delivery, and accounting. And so if those things aren't set up right, if you grow a bunch of IT MRR, no matter how successful you are at growing it, it's not going to be a successful vision. Um, you might end up with industries that are outside your comfort zone, or inheriting technology that your team can't effectively manage or secure. Um, you might, I asked the guy yesterday this, it's like, hey, if you added one big client in the next 3 years and that got you to your number, would that be successful? And it's like, no, I don't want to have all my eggs in that one basket. So you got to break down like what kind of clients, what size, how much revenue, how many, what's typical, what's large, and get that super, super clear. The more clear your ITMRR growth strategy needs to be, the more compelling it will be to everyone it impacts, and you won't find yourself in that state of constant frustration. And we see this a lot in these conversations, don't we, Cassia? Where that CEO, they start, it's like, I feel like I'm the only one driving this forward, which is the exact opposite of where I want to be spending my time. Like we get that all the time.
Yeah, yeah, visibly frustrated. And it's not just with marketing and sales. Uh, a lot of times, well, some of the times, the frustration is stemming from a lack of alignment with their internal team. So they've got people pushing and pulling in all different directions. Um, MSPs operate across various functions, help desk, professional services, account management, accounting, and each of these requires a clear vision that other leaders within your organization can understand, plan for, and manage. So CEOs don't want to hear, but like slowing down sounds counterintuitive in how fast paced that world is and the need,
Yep.
need, need. But it's essential for clarity and it saves time in the long run. But it does take a discipline for CEOs to clarify their vision first to themselves and really ask those questions, not just like, what am I looking for, but what am I not looking for? And then collaboratively refine it with their trusted advisors, so department heads and people that are really the ones driving the results internally. Um, and we and our strategic partners we work with have helped CEOs get clear on several aspects of their IT MRR growth strategy, such as things like how the salesperson is compensated. It needs to be beneficial for both them and the company. And if the vision isn't a win for them, it's just not going to work. And then another piece of that is the acceptable cost of marketing for the organization. So even down to the cost per lead. If marketing doesn't have an adequate budget, it's not going to be a win for them either. You can't do what you need them to do. You have to be realistic about the numbers. Um, and how deals are structured and transitioned smoothly from sales to delivery and into accounting teams. We don't want to create friction here because if your delivery team just has a deal tossed over the fence at them with just signed and says make it happen, it's not going to be a win for them. And what you're going to wind up with is just friction across all of your internal departments. Um, so ensuring deals are priced correctly is one of the last aspects of that. You got to make sure you're maintaining margins and setting appropriate payment terms. I mean, nothing sucks, as you mentioned, Connor, worse than getting like a deal at the wrong price that you'll never make money on. So the clearer the vision is from the CEO on all of these critical aspects, the more effectively the team can execute it. And this really mostly focuses on internal team issues, but really these are vision issues, and that starts from the top. Um, but I didn't really touch on marketing people. Connor, do you want to talk a little bit about the vision and marketing?
Yeah, and one last comment on that is it sounds like a lot of stuff, but Cassie and I have been through a lot of these meetings and generally we can help the CEO get their vision clear within about, a little over a page. Anyway, more work from there and other types of experts, but the vision, is not some epic, war and peace, document. All right, marketing people. Man, I've got a special place in my heart for marketing professionals because they are energetic, they're creative, they're always eager to jump into new projects. And I've worked in the MSP industry for so long, with logical, very practical people. So that enthusiasm is crucial. But we also know that marketing can quickly just become this costly venture, and without the right direction, it's easy to see time, money, energy spent hastily and ineffectively. And this can go on for years. So anyway, so all you folks in the marketing seats today that are watching this, here's what you need to ensure success. We're going to beat on this drum again, but a clear vision from the CEO. If it's not clear and compelling vision, for IT MRR growth, you're going to struggle. A solid sales plan, and what I mean by that is like what numbers need to be met by month, by quarter, by year, and typically you should be able to get obviously a 1 year, but also kind of a 3 year outlook as to where this thing is going. And then you've just got to align your marketing efforts with that sales plan and with that vision. Like Cassie mentioned, budget. You've got to have enough budget. And what we see is MSPs that I call mature are typically spending about 2.5 to 5% of their projected annual gross revenues. There are world-class high growth MSPs out there that are spending 6 to 8%. And so you've got to have a marketing budget that can support that. And that marketing budget is going to cover a lot of different, things from, people to, tools to, um, anyway, a lot of stuff. Strong branding strategy. This is important to everybody, people in the company, outside the company. If your brand resonates well, you're going to recruit better. You're going to retain better. You're going to differentiate yourself, from your competitors. People will be drawn to want to work with you. So strong brand strategy is super important. A detailed marketing plan. I mentioned earlier, like marketing people, super creative, super energetic, super fun, not always the greatest planners, not always the greatest project managers. So you've got to have a detailed marketing plan, and you got to be have capabilities in project management. Um, this is about predictable results. All the metrics are nice about growth in followers, click, subscription, website traffic, but marketing folks, you've got to understand that the CEO and the business development people, all they're really measuring is qualified leads. Do not lose sight of that. And so if you're not a good project manager, and you're not lined up with, everything I'm doing is to generate these leads, you're going to struggle. Um, be accountable, not just for generating any leads, but right fit marketing qualified leads. This is another big frustration of CEOs. It's like, oh yeah, we're getting form fills, we're getting phone calls, but it's not what we're looking for. So you've got to improve those metrics over time. And even some of the things that aren't maybe traditional um, marketing stuff, but like your newsletter, if nobody's opening those and you're seeing those metrics, like it's clear that needs to be improved. So hopefully that helps those marketing folks.
Yeah, exactly. So getting them aligned on what you really want to see from those metrics and what you're really driving towards is going to help. Um, Also, getting a good picture of what marketing is. So, CEOs, typically when they think about marketing, like they hired a marketing assistant, maybe somebody to run their socials, and they often give them a lot of creative freedom. They kind of say, go
Yeah,
ahead and like,
especially MSP CEOs without that creative piece.
yeah, yeah. So they'll take on things like visual aesthetics, maybe revising like messaging and copy, which are definitely fun aspects of marketing. But that assistant doesn't often help with or even have the authority to work on like the real brass tacks of business and what it really needs from marketing. Again, the root issue is that the CEO needs to present a clear vision. But beyond that, there's also meticulous planning, project management, execution across a diverse set of marketing activities that needs to happen. And they have to be driving towards like real outcomes.
Yeah,
So you have to ask yourself as a CEO, like, do you have the right people in place to drive towards that vision? And something to think about as an MSP is like an age-old question in that industry from your buyers. Should I outsource or hire internally?
right.
And if you're an
Yeah,
MSP,
like I get that question all the time, and on our MSP, first time appointments, it's like we've thought about hiring internal, and you're looking around and they've got 25 people, and it's like, well, that guy's going to be real bored.
yeah, yeah. I mean, if you're operating in sales too, you're very familiar with this question and you know that it's impractical. Like most companies, they do not need to hire an in-house person. But beyond that, like that in-house person may not have the skills or capabilities that your MSP offers. So it's the exact same thing from the marketing side. If you have an internal marketing person, they're probably going to need support. And the best way to think of it is them with fractional expertise. So don't expect your internal marketing person to be a unicorn capable of like handling strategy,
Right.
planning, creative tasks, digital marketing, trade shows. The list goes on forever. Um, you can get them focused on very specific aspects of your marketing that are very personal and internalized. Um, and also another thing to think about is like the smaller of a company you are, the more limited your budget's going to be. So you're likely going to need to outsource chunks of your marketing to get, brand alignment and get campaigns built and have someone that can really monitor, manage, and execute on those campaigns. And you can have an internal person. The outsourced aspect is going to give more shoulders to carry that weight. So, again, its business owner's vision can impact alignment, like both internally and with third party. But what about business development people, Connor? I mean, surely they know the ins and outs of how to sell the product effectively.
Yeah. This is having been in peer groups for 20 years. One of the classic peer group conversations is my business development guy and I aren't working out, and they got to go. And MSP CEOs and business development folks often find themselves at odds, and it's usually because again those foundational elements aren't well established. And here's what typically goes wrong. Once again, CEO's vision isn't clear. The CEO's sales plan for the next year or 3 years isn't clear. When that happens, it's going to impact the process of recruiting, hiring, candidate selection, onboarding, expectation setting. And just like any other employee, it's like if you don't recruit for the right vision, hire for the right vision, select the right candidate for the right vision, onboard for that vision, it's going to be a struggle. Business development executives also come in, with their chests out and everything's awesome and I'm awesome and awesome, 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 which you need, from them. But what it leads to in their first year is they overestimate what they're going to sell. They underestimate the complexity of the sales process and overestimate the maturity of where the organization is at in terms of like core fundamental marketing and prospecting mechanisms. So, as a result, when sales and compensation aren't met, the relationship between the CEO and the dev person drifts. And often between year one and year two, both our parties end up parting ways and starting over. And this is the cycle, and you hear it all the time in peer groups. So, to prevent the cycle of frustration and to be successful, the vision, the sales plan, the comp model must be clear, achievable, create wins for everybody involved. That salesperson needs to mentally and financially commit to 3 years. So, if they can see the vision and they can see it in 3 years, they can be committed to this, like, hey, this is a 3 year vision without focusing on distractions. Another thing is that biz dev person has to want to be a business development executive. A lot of times what we see is like, I'll take the job, but I'm going to grow it and then I'm going to become the business development manager, the business development director. And usually when you do the math for a lot of MSPs, it's like you're nowhere near needing that level of overhead. Um, those are different jobs, and the CEO just has to be like really clear. Hey, at this stage, our revenue, we need somebody that wants to do the job of business development. Accountability for generating leads should be shared between that biz dev person, the marketing team, and the CEO. More on that in a bit. And the salesperson can't be what I call the sales authority, meaning they know more about your IT MRR practice than anybody else. Without years of experience, they're going to need someone, typically the CEO, to be the sales authority. Once they go through that process enough, they learn more and they can handle more and more types of deals. But they're going to need some of that weight involved. Um, Prospecting and sales is a process in which that salesperson must become competent, confident, and fully operational. And it's not, again, just about meeting quota, it's about getting those right fit customers, right solution, right price, and ensuring a good handoff to delivery in the accounting teams. So that's a bunch of stuff, but hopefully that helps those business development folks and the CEOs in those relationships.
Yeah, you really nailed it, Connor. It's a classic pitfall that repeats itself over and over again with MSPs. And honestly, if MSPs don't resolve the disconnect between a clear sales vision and business development roles, the CEO will always be tied down with finding and securing new business. You'll never be able to escape that. Initially, this can work, but over time, it just creates bottlenecks. Um, so the MSPs that do manage to align their CEO, marketing team, and business development effectively are the ones that overcome the typical CEO referral relationship bottleneck problem.
Yeah.
Um, and so you want to instill confidence with operations and accounting departments, sustainable growth. That's what we're aiming for, right? Great strategies. Um, so I think we've really driven home the point of the first question that we aimed to answer, which was what should CEOs be focused on from a high level? But once they have their vision clear, they need to get straight on what biz dev people are doing and what their marketing people are working on. So earlier you brought up campaigns, which is a word that is thrown around a lot. So
Yeah.
I just want to take a slow down moment and define it real quick for clarity moving forward. So campaigns are a planned set of marketing and or prospecting activities used to create know, like, and trust uh, uh, of a person, company, or offering. So specifically a set of tactics aligned strategically to a specific goal or outcome. So it could be helpful to talk a little bit about campaigns. What kind of campaigns would the CEO, biz dev, and marketing people be running to support this vision?
Yeah, let's talk about the CEOs, and some of the CEOs watching this might be like, I'm not going to do marketing. I'm not going to do,
Yeah.
prospecting. But let's go back to what we said at the beginning. MSPs have to reach business people that know them and business people that don't know them. That's how you're going to start to grow your IT MRR. And you can do that through prospecting, which is reaching out to one person at a time privately, or you can reach them via marketing, which is reaching many people publicly. So specifically with the CEOs, let's talk what should a CEO be doing from a marketing perspective, which is again, one too many, okay? CEOs should be speaking, so finding audiences where they can speak to and provide good, authoritative, helpful content to the business communities that they serve. And they can be posting on social media, LinkedIn, etc. Again, good, helpful content to the business communities that they serve. Um, that's it. If the CEO at this type of stage is doing that, that's their marketing campaigns. Okay. Prospecting, that's again 1-to-1. I like to say this, many CEOs are big pursuers of some cause, their people, cybersecurity, technology, um, but they might also have a cause outside the organization that's bigger than themselves. Maybe that's spiritual. Maybe that's um, uh, a cancer association or kids or whatever it is. Pursue that cause, pursue it because it's important to you, but do it with other people. And that is a form of connecting one to one, which is, as we talked about, has benefits from a prospecting standpoint. Being active in your community and industries where there are high level opportunities is the other. If you go to a golf event, if there's a specific industry mixer or charity event or chamber event or whatever it is where there's other high level opportunities to connect with people one to one, CEOs should be doing that. So that's not very many campaigns. And those can all be trained, taught, and scheduled, planned, and executed. When an MSP actively participates in those four fundamental campaigns, it becomes natural, it significantly boosts their reputation, making them known, like, trusted. And this isn't just about visibility, it's about engaging meaningfully in the communities and the industries that they serve. Um, and we all know this, like every CEO knows this. You can naturally attract more business and larger deals because you embody that level of trust and authority that your buyer is looking for. Nobody else in the organization can do that.
Yeah, exactly. And uh, you know, as you were listing off some of those options, some of those campaigns, they don't have to not be fun. Like you could be
Yeah,
you
yeah,
could
it
be
doesn't sound very
golfing.
fun when I say it, but
You could be golfing. It could be fun.
right.
Like it's really just keeping an eye open for opportunities, but making sure you're networking and participating. And CEOs, you can feel not confident in the idea of doing your own marketing. I mean, sometimes it's uncomfortable putting your face out there, but really, like, you are such an essential component of the company. And I think if you have the vision clear on what you're trying to achieve and like the mission behind it, that you feel a lot more comfortable running those types of campaigns. But as Connor said, there is no one single person in the company that can build stronger relationships or have as significant of an impact on the networking possibilities of your company. So, with what you've listed, I think if you set realistic goals, it's very achievable, but also essential for CEOs to look into elevating their company's market standing by participating actively in networking and community building events.
Well said. Let's talk about business development executives.
Yeah.
We And again, if you're a business development person on this and you're like, I don't do marketing or prospecting, I just take the lead and then manage the sales process. I'm just, my opinion is you're going to struggle. And so business development people also have to be doing campaigns. And just like we talked about, it's like they should be doing marketing one to many, and they should be doing prospecting one to one. So, real simple. From a marketing standpoint, one to many, business development executives should be posting from their personal accounts to their business people audience. Um, if you just met with a client or a prospect and they were an interesting business, share that story, share that challenge, share how you can help them. If you closed a deal, talk about their key challenges in their industry and how you helped understand those and present them. This kind of posting is marketing one to many. Business development people also need to be spending a lot of their time prospecting one to one. And that means being active in the communities and territories that you're selling into, being active in the industries that you're selling to, and then doing warm and cold outreach with an insight approach. So, to break that down, when I say warm outreach, that means the person already knows you, the business person already knows you. Okay. And so you're reaching out to them because you just have an interesting case study to share, or a blog post to share, or a social media post to share. Cold outreach means they don't know you. And rather than you saying, hey, we should meet, we should have coffee, we should connect, so on and so forth, you are giving them insightful things that make them think, I should know this person. Two very different games. So the business development executive really has those four fundamental campaigns. And the better they get at them, the better the results.
Yeah, great, great outline on that. And it's really important that the CEO and maybe a marketing individual help structure these campaigns for business development executives. Because without,
Yeah.
setting like structured, measurable,
Yeah.
executable strategy, they're just going to go on their own. And
Yeah. And
it,
this is so painful where the MSP hires the CEO hires the business development person and teaches them some fundamentals and then it's like, well, you're the business development guy, go develop business.
yeah, yeah,
And then they wait a year and then they're like, why aren't you developing business? And the when a business development joins an organization, you have to give them a system, some basic walls, some basic guidelines. What does this mean? So anyway,
yeah,
sorry to
yeah.
cut you off.
No, no, it's all great points. And I think even if you're pulling in a biz dev person that's from a similar industry, your product offering may not be identical, and like your location may not be the same, and like your target audience might not be the same.
Right,
So
your brand, your messaging, like all those
even
things.
if they're starting off with like a good understanding of the industry itself, which sometimes they're brand new into that, you have to give them something to work with, something to help them understand like this is how we build our networks, and like these are the things I expect from you as well, the measurable results that we can compare against what success looks like.
Yeah, these are the campaigns you need to run.
Yeah. So the last aspect is the marketing team. Do you want to touch on that, Connor?
Yeah, the number of marketing campaigns, and it's a lot like being an MSP. There's so many different tools and things you have to do for your customer anymore: licensing and patch management, antivirus and firewall, and this and that, and security awareness training, all this stuff. Um, and it's the same thing that's happening in marketing is that the number of campaigns, the number of tools, the sophistication of them, it's all growing. And it's going to grow more the more sophisticated you get and the bigger your vision gets. So, let's talk through this. And again, I want to keep it simple. It's like whether you have one marketing person or a marketing team, or outsourced or a combination working thereof, you know, very simply, what should that marketing function be doing to reach business people that know your company? And what should they be doing to reach business people that don't know your company? Those are the basic questions you have to ask. So, marketing, again, is one to many. The marketing team should be creating good, insightful, valuable content. If they're doing events, those are one to many. If they're doing newsletters, those are one to many. If they're driving Google reviews, those Google reviews are displayed to many, many people. If they're doing paid ads, email marketing, social media posting at the company level, um, email marketing, blasts and nurturing, these are all marketing campaigns that are one to many. The marketing team can also, though, do prospecting one to one. There are IT job posts all the time. And if you've got a co-managed offering, you can be reaching out and nurturing, those companies that are looking to hire and seeing maybe they should consider partnering with you. You can do one-to-one prospecting with email marketing as well. So those are the basic campaigns, and we're not going to dive deep into all of those today because every single one of them requires some different skills, some different specialties, some different knowledge. Um, but I do want to emphasize the importance of content. Our marketing teams must produce high quality, insightful, and branded content across multiple channels. Um, Videos like this webinar that we're doing, short form videos, blogs, case studies, social media. I, I think a lot of MSPs, it's like they buy a package from a marketing firm and it's like, well, now we're getting a lot of content posted. It's like, well, content's posting is a measurement. I'm now posting 5 times a week or whatever it is. But the more high quality, insightful it is, the better. This not only is going to boost engagement across platforms, but it also, and this is super important to understand, it gives the business development team the valuable content they need for effective insight-led one-to-one prospecting. It's a lot of work, and you have to work smart and leverage technology to stay on top on brand. But that's really the campaigns that the marketing people have to be focused on.
You brought up several good points, and I want to touch on a couple of them. One, if we wanted to talk about the different campaigns, that's a whole nother webinar. So if you guys are interested in us rambling about campaigns for a while, I'd be happy to do that. Just shoot us a message and let us know if that's something you're interested in. You also mentioned the importance of specialists, and even within our company as an agency, like I recognize that I don't know everything. It's why we have a content boss. Just acknowledging that there are one person really can't be the
Yeah,
master of everything. You
right.
you, you have to have a
Digital ads is its own special. I mean, it's
yes.
all, yeah,
Yep, having those specialists in place and recognizing that like we work better as a team than trying to have one person handle and hold everything. But yeah, there's a ton of different directions, but also going back, like all of those campaigns, because there are so many of them, have to align with the vision and the focus. What's the focus? Because you can do all of them at once and spend tons of money, but still not have those measurable results because you don't know what the end game is. You don't know what the goal is.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, so some great points. But the last point is just that, yeah, don't buy one-off things. Don't think joining an associate, having your biz dev person join an association, or just hiring a salesperson is going to fix all your lead frustration. It's not going to work. There has to be.
Yeah, not in the B2B world. It's a combination of different things because you really have to build that know, like, and trust.
Yeah.
And it does require sustained effort and that strategic vision from the CEO.
Mhm.
And let's talk about time frames. Like, when we have these meetings, oftentimes, like, I want, this thing to be rocking and rolling, within a year. And that's possible um, if your MSP is mature and you're able to hire the right level of people with the right experience, and you can more rapidly execute on your vision. You've got to temper expectations, because building genuine authority, trust, and relationships takes time. And we all know, as MSP business owners, like, in the business world and the sectors like ours, that's what generates the sustainable growth. Um, and think about it this way: if quick and easy authority were achievable, we all know about what's happening with the MSP space and private equity. Private equity would just focus on building market share through aggressive market penetration tactics rather than acquiring companies that have already established these credentials in their market. And they're not, you know, they are buying the MSP, versus just, I'll take market share from the MSP, because I can blow you out of the water in a year. Most MSP owners we work with, aren't chasing private equity. Maybe it's their final destination, but along the way, what they're really looking for is quality, sustainable growth within their market, and perhaps a few industry verticals, within their region. They're what they value is strong relationships, community integration, and again, that's built gradually. So CEOs, remember, while the full vision make time to realize, um, you can still achieve significant growth, celebrate the wins, and build confidence along the way.
So I want to add one little a note here on my journey over the last year, because I have a triathlon in 1 month. And last year, when I committed to doing that, my biggest weakness was swimming. And
Yeah,
so for the first like 3 or 4 months, I pretty much felt like I was just not drowning. But I wasn't really seeing a lot of progress until I decided to work with a swim coach. And having that person standing outside of the pool and watching my technique and correcting it and giving me like realistic plans and goals and strategies to improve has made all the difference in the world. But also realistically, I knew that I set that goal out a year ahead and that I was going to have to take incremental steps to feel comfortable and confident going into the race in a month.
yeah,
And so that was a very similar journey. And one of the reasons why we find fitness such a comparable example to marketing is that, like, I chose a goal. I tried to do it on my own for a while and pretty much felt like I was just not drowning. Um, and it can be better than that. You don't have to just feel like you're not drowning the whole time. You can actually feel like you're succeeding. Um, but anyways, back to our point. So MSPs, it's a relationship based business, right?
yeah.
And when we started today, we wanted to answer a few fundamental questions, but also kind of change the way MSP CEOs are thinking about how to build a strong lead generation system for their company. So some of those questions we answered, or hopefully we answered, is
Hopefully,
what exactly should a CEO be focusing on? What are the key responsibilities of their biz dev person? And what really should the marketing team be tasked with to drive real results? So, seeing tangible, setting tangible goals, making sure you have alignment with those goals in your biz dev people, and having your business development team, work with your marketing people to create campaigns that support these goals are all things that are just actionable steps that you should be considering taking. Was there any other resources we wanted to hand out today, Connor? I think we've got.
no. Again, what we really want to do is educate today, and I'll just close. having known a lot of MSP CEOs going through this, is you can get frustrated, you can, lose hope that this is possible. You can buy the quick fix, so that you feel like you're doing something. There isn't a quick fix. And that's not just me saying that, whether it's Robin Robbins or Gary Pica or whatever it is, it's like there is no quick fix, to this. And so what you really have to do is be committed. We call that the commitment zone. And you have to be able to see a bigger, better future. And that's your vision. And you have to be able to make that vision super clear to other folks. And you will find that will attract good people that can help you do it. And so in terms of, resources, I think we'll just throw up some QR codes, to our website, our LinkedIn accounts. And the with the links to the LinkedIn accounts, don't hesitate to reach out to Cassie and I, if you want to dive deeper. We also have an ebook we can get you, MSP Marketing Muscle: Why You Don't Have It, What to Do About It. Um, we really enjoy the MSP community. I certainly love being an MSP owner, but also just working with other MSP owners through these challenges, and digital marketing services. So we'll close this up. Having that marketing muffin top, I know it, it's painful. So hopefully we help some people get stronger in their journey towards that marketing six pack, for their MSP. Thanks, everybody.
Yep. And we would love to have your feedback if you have any other topics you'd like us to cover. Otherwise, we'll see you next time.